This episode of the Beauty by ABIC podcast is brought to you by the International Dermal Institute and Dermalogica PRO. Hello and welcome to the Beauty by ABIC podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Here, we are strengthening and unifying the industry through representation, innovation, and education. This is a platform created and dedicated to the aesthetic and beauty industry, valuing unity and advancement. We serve to represent, support, and inspire you by connecting you with industry experts, expanding your knowledge through educational pieces, and bringing you the latest industry news. This is Beauty by ABIC. I'm your host, Stephanie Miller, and today's guest is Sarah Hughes from the International Dermal Institute and Dermalogica PRO. Sarah Hughes is the Learning and Development Manager for the International Dermal Institute and Dermalogica PRO. Sarah has been a therapist for over 25 years, with her area of expertise lying in skin science and skin health. This being the catalyst that led her to gain her bachelor's degree in applied health science, specializing in clinical aesthetics, and qualifying as a dermal clinician. Sarah's passion for skin therapy is infectious. Her knowledge of clinical skin analysis and aesthetic services is second to none. If you're like Sarah and I, and are always inquisitive to learn, then join us for an engaging, informative, and high-energy session as we take an in-depth dive into the science of retinol, its many and varied interactions with the skin, and how to best utilize it in a clinical setting. From the International Dermal Institute and Dermalogica PRO, today we welcome Sarah Hughes. I am here today with the incredible Sarah Hughes from Dermalogica. Welcome, Sarah.
Thanks, Steph. It's so exciting to be back with you again. It's lovely. I love talking to you. Very excited.
I love speaking to you as well. I got so excited this morning thinking, oh my goodness, I'm going to have a good old chat all about skin stuff, which we love. We're going to get to nerd out this session completely because we're talking about strictly clinical.
Yeah, it's all about the pro. It's all about the pro treatments and what we can do as skin technicians. I'm very excited to talk.
Well, I'm very excited to hear what you've got to say, as our listeners are. We have had Sarah on the podcast before, so please scroll back in time to find Sarah's other podcasts because they are absolutely incredible and so much fun as well to talk to you. But today we're talking about one of my favorite subjects, and that's skincare ingredients. Everybody knows I am a total skin ingredient nerd, but today we're talking about, I think, one of everyone's favorite ingredients, and that's retinol.
Retinol is my ultimate. If I could bathe in one ingredient for the rest of my life, I swear it would be retinol. I would just sleep in it.
Could you imagine? Like, I sometimes think, could I fill the bathtub
yes.
with hair and lie in it?
But then I think is it that good that we would end up positively embryonic if we slept in it? Do we feel like Benjamin Button?
That's my wish. You're speaking to the heart of everybody right now that's listening. But yeah, we've got an action-packed podcast today all about clinical treatments, which is what we as therapists are so passionate about. Of course, home care, sending our clients off with the skincare ingredients that they need to maintain their journey. But what we get to do in the treatment room is really change skin, really start that process, kickstart it in a very special way. So today we are talking about strictly clinical. But before we start and we go down that path, Sarah, just give us a little 2 minutes about you, what your background is, and obviously what you do at Dermalogica.
It was really scary, Steph, as you asked me about my background, and I qualified as a skin therapist. I was a beauty therapist. You know, I was one of the white dress, white shoe brigades, and I loved it. And I went to college in 1990. I qualified in 1993. So I have been in this industry and excited and passionate about it for 30 years plus. That's horrific. Like the last time I did the sums, it was 20 years. Where did the last decade go? But essentially, I am the curriculum learning and development manager for Dermalogica. So I help with all of our curriculum, because at Dermalogica we have a full curriculum supporting all of the different aspects of skin, from aging through to pigmentation. My absolute passion is the skin. So that took me on a 5-year qualification to gain my bachelor degree in applied health science with clinical aesthetics. And I got that this year, so I'm really, really pumped and really excited. But a bit like you, Steph, I geek out on the skin, I geek out on the science, the ingredients. It really fills my cup. And when I think about it, 30 years, and I've never had a day where I haven't loved being in this industry. Like, I've never got tired of it. Always moving, always learning, always keeping in touch, always turning up. And being here and doing things like this just makes my day. So that's a little bit about me.
Well, it makes ours to have you on the podcast, and it is truly special to know that, you know, every day you wake up so passionate. I think you reflect the sentiments of so many of us out there who are extremely passionate, but more so it gives us a sense of fulfillment to be able to change lives in that deep, profound way. And I think ABIC is all about supporting people on their journey to be able to change other people's lives. It's pretty special what we do, isn't it?
It really is. It really is. And my dad always said to me, if you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life. And I think I've lived by that, and that's why we do what we do. And it's so true. You know, as a therapist, we have the ability to literally change lives by doing what we do. And I think that is such an important thing to hold true to yourself, is that what you're doing is so supportive and so life-changing for so many of your clients that come through the doors and have your hands on their skin. What we do is really special.
It truly is. And speaking of life-changing, we've got it talking about the life-changing ingredient, which is retinol today. Yes. You know, there's so much buzz around this particular product, and there's been so much buzz for years. It is a staple. It is something that has not been a flash in the pan. It has not been and gone and then came back and made a revival. It has been strong for decades, for so long. And the technology is just getting better and better and better. And we're finding better ways of applying it. So why? What is all the fuss about retinol?
It's really funny. When I was at college, I'm really showing my age now, but I read an article about Diana Ross, who's one of my favorite singers. You know, she's one of those soul sisters. She's incredible. And it was all about the fact that Diana Ross was applying this ingredient called retin-A to her skin, and it was an anti-aging treatment. And of course, me being me, I'm like, retin-A, what's that? What's all, you know? And off I went. Didn't have the internet then, Steph. Again, showing my age, but you know, trying to find access to information. And you're so right. It's not an ingredient that is going away. It's not disappearing. It's not vanishing, and it's never diminished. But what it has done is become more accessible to us as skin therapists, because retinol is a derivative of vitamin A, and it's been used by the medical profession for years and years and years to help with acne. So it's been a systemic drug. You know, we often use the trade name Roaccutane, but it's isotretinoic acid. It's a derivative of vitamin A, and it's incredibly successful at helping those real extreme acne lesions and for those acne sufferers. But then it did then manifest that you have this topical application that doctors were prescribing for acne, but they were noticing that it was having this incredible impact on lines and wrinkles. And you fast forward to where we are now, and you were saying, what is all the fuss about? But in this one derivative, this derivative of vitamin A, you have the ability to work with breakouts and skin lesions. You can help with triggering neocollagenesis and firing up that fibroblast cell. You can help support elastin. You can trigger cell turnover, cell renewal. So you're helping with all things aging, all things dehydration. It works with melanogenesis. It helps slow down that melanin production. It's got almost like a tyrosinase inhibition quality to it. So it slows down melanin production. I could just shout about it from the, because why would you not use this ingredient in your clinical treatments? Because it's literally suitable for every single problem that you're going to see. It's just that one ingredient. You say the key benefits, think of every problem on the skin, and retinol will have some capability and supportive quality to help you with that.
I have to agree. I'm sitting here thinking, what can't it do? And what I suppose there are, the question out there is what about sensitized skins? What about, the reddened skins? Should we be using it on those types of skin?
There's no reason why you can't, but the thing with retinol is that you have to let the skin get used to it. So the way it works, and the skin is really, really smart. And I know we're going to look at this in a little moment, but the skin, basically, you have retinol receptors, and they attach to retinol and they utilize retinol. But as we get older, we have less of these receptors, so we have less ability to work with it safely. So sometimes when we first start using retinol, you can get a bit of an irritation. If you go full on, slapping it all over your skin every single day, or every single night, should I say, if you go crazy with it, then you can get that retinoid response. But if you're respectful of this ingredient and you give your skin time to develop those receptors, then actually any skin can tolerate, but every skin is going to tolerate it on a slightly different level. So if you've got a fairly hardy skin, you can actually get to the point where you can work with retinol on your skin every single evening. But if you have got a skin that is more sensitized and more prone to irritation, you might only work with it once or twice a week. But that's not to say that you can't use it, but you just have to play around with it. And that's where, as skin therapists and technicians, that's where you come into your strength with your treatments for your clients, making sure you've done your consultation, you've read the skin, you've done a thorough skin analysis, everything that's going on, and then you have that wonderful communication with your clients as to how they are going to work with retinol on their skin and how it's going to best work for them.
I love that answer, and I'm so glad you answered that early on in the piece, because that will mean that everybody that deals with sensitized skin is going to keep their ears finely tuned for what you're going to say later on. Because, sometimes we say a statement like, this ingredient can be for everything. And then a lot of us out there go, the skeptical mind, what do you mean by that? I'm going to tune out. So don't tune out. Stay and listen, because not only can we modify how we use retinol, but is there only one type of this ingredient? Can we possibly use different types of this ingredient?
100%. There are so many different types. That's what's so amazing, is that, vitamin A, think of it as the family name. So it's like the surname, but within that, you've got varying family members. And depending on which family member you're applying to the skin, depends on the reaction or the response that your skin has. So as a classic example, if you go to a medical professional, a plastic surgeon, a dermatologist, even your GP, they will be recommending you the most active form of vitamin A, which is retinoic acid. Now, that is medically prescribed. It's prescription only. Certainly as professional skin technicians and therapists, we do not work with retinoic acid. So if you're going to have the most active form, you're going to get that medically prescribed. Now, the reason for that is because with this activity, obviously you have full strength going onto the skin and the skin using that ingredient immediately. But with that comes the side effects, the sensitivity, the potential inflammatory response, the reactability, that you need to have a medical professional on board to guide you through that. But then going back, so imagine like retinoic acid as the top, the strength, you then have varying degrees of strength, and it gets a little bit weaker as we move back along the chain. But you have retinoic acid, then you have retinal or retinaldehyde. That's still super, super active, very, very impactful, still potentially could create irritation. So you need to be very cautious with manufacturers, what they've manufactured and the ingredients that they're using alongside that retinol to kind of inhibit some of that inflammatory response. Next step back is retinol. Retinol is probably one of the more stable forms. It's certainly still highly active, highly capable of creating those responses in the skin, but not to the degree that retinal and retinoic acid are. And then on the flip side of retinol, you've got a lot of the esters, things like retinol propionate and retinol palmitate, which has more of a an attachment to a fatty component, like a palmitate component. So the skin still gets all of the benefits of retinol, but it's not so active. It's more slow release. It's a little bit more gentle. It's more suitable then for your more irritable and sensitized skins. So when we talk about this one ingredient that ticks all of these boxes, what's also so amazing about it is that depending on your skin and depending on the manufacturer, you've got varying different subcategories within that you can manipulate and use within your formulations to get the results and the responses that you want.
That is such fascinating information. You know, when you were speaking, I was thinking there's so many different ways to apply this. You know, you can change the frequency of it, you can change the type of it, but also there's that extra factor, right? That third element that sometimes we don't consider. And that is when you actually apply it. How does your skin, your personal skin, affect the ingredient? Does it make it more active? Does it change the property? What's the story there?
Oh my God, this is where the geeks in the group are going to really melt, because this for me is what makes retinol then just that absolute no-brainer of an ingredient that you're going to use. Is yes, you have that really, really strong formula, right? Retinoic acid, medically prescribed. How do we, how unfair is it then that as skin technicians, we can't use retinoic acid? We've got to use these milder formulas. Not the case. You know what is so amazing is it doesn't matter if you apply retinoic acid or if you step back a few jumps and go for something less irritating like retinol or a retinol type ester. The skin has capability, it has specific enzymes, and don't forget these receptors that we were talking about as well, but it has these specific enzymes that are able to convert whatever format of vitamin A you put on your skin, whatever format of retinoic acid, the skin will release enzymes that convert that formula down into retinoic acid. So it doesn't matter whether you're using retinol, retinol palmitate, the enzymes within your skin harness the receptors and convert that ingredient down into retinoic acid, the most active form. But what's great for us and great therefore for our clients is that because it's slower, that conversion is slower, it's not going to bring all of those hugely inflammatory, potential irritating side effects. So harken back to when I was saying a sensitive skin can use it. They can, but you'd use a weaker derivative, knowing that the skin has the capability and the enzyme response to convert it down to the more active formula, just less aggressive within the skin tissue. That blows my mind.
How special is that? How special is our skin? That the intelligence within our cells, the intelligence within our bodies as a whole, to be able to take what it needs out of everything that you give it, you know, out of the food as a whole, out of skincare as a whole product, and then break it down to that, hey, this is the part that I can utilize, and this is what I need, and then convert it into, you know, something that's suitable for our skin. It's such a magical combination, and we always forget our skin's part in this. You know, it's not a one-way street. It's not just the ingredient that does the work. It's your skin being prompted to do certain actions prompted by those ingredients, right?
How smart is our skin?
It's incredible. It's totally incredible. I love the fact that we're so open, and you're so open about, you know, how you need to use it, and, you know, can sensitized skins use this? You know, let's talk about, you know, what are the concerns or areas of caution or just things to be aware of when using retinol, or even just concerning the ingredient?
There are a few. I mean, look, you can't have an ingredient like this that sounds like, you know, it's as rare as unicorns, right? It's like, oh, that perfect ingredient. But we do have to be aware that there are a few red flags and a few caveats that we need to be aware of. So firstly, with vitamin A, it's light sensitive, does not do well with UV light. So whenever you're working with any type of retinoid, anything from that vitamin A family, it's always a nighttime product. Please always use it at night. As skin technicians, don't ever put it underneath an LED device. It will not respond well to LED. With that red flag of light and the fact that it is a retinol, it is a light sensitive ingredient, any of your clients that are working with retinols, whatever derivative, always need to be using an SPF. So there absolutely has to be an SPF going onto the skin. So those are the first few. Secondly, it does get converted down to retinoic acid. It is active. So don't just go full bore into applying this product on your skin thinking, yeah, retinol, I can just slap it on my face and away I go. Every single person I have ever met that has done that says, oh, retinol, no, I can't use it. It makes my skin irritated. It sensitizes my skin. Have some respect. It is an incredibly smart ingredient, but introduce it slowly to your skin. That might be only once or twice a week. That might be that you slowly increase it and you suddenly, you go from 1 to 2 times a week to every other night to then applying it every night. But if you're applying it every night and you find your skin starts to get irritated, step it back. Go back to every other night until you find your level where you're comfortable.
Providing professional-grade skincare since 1986, Dermalogica has grown to be the leading professional skincare brand, used by more than 100,000 skin therapists in more than 100 countries around the world. Founded by a skin therapist, their product line grew out of a desire to provide skin therapists with the best-in-class skincare products and education. Powered by the International Dermal Institute, their skills-based training has served a community of passionate skincare professionals, building their skills and breaking new ground in the skincare industry, whilst developing personalised skincare solutions that help clients achieve the healthiest skin they can, not just today, but for life. Dermalogica is the #1 choice of skincare professionals worldwide. To learn more, visit www.dermalogica.com.au today.
The third thing that you do just need to be aware of is that although there's no sort of clinical data, there is some concern about using vitamin A derivatives during pregnancy and breastfeeding. So as a brand, Dermalogica PRO, we actually just say during those childbearing years, if you're pregnant, trying to become pregnant, or if you are feeding your child, just to avoid the use of retinol type ingredients during that period of time. You can pick it up afterwards. It's not a problem, but just be cautious. As I say, there's no clinical data to show that there's a problem, but we always err on the side of caution. And then just consider what retinol is doing to the skin. So it is working actively on your cell turnover and your cell renewal. So we always urge a little bit of caution around lasers, IPL type treatments, waxing, hair removal, other exfoliation services, deep chemical peels. We would just err on the side of caution if you've had those types of treatments. Definitely waxing and things like that, 72 hours either side. If you're having lasers, IPLs, those sorts of treatments, give your skin recovery time before you start applying a retinol type ingredient to skin. I would say at least a good 3 to 4 days. With laser, follow your technician's guidelines as to when you can start working with those retinol type ingredients. It's just a few red flags, a few little areas of caution.
Wise words. And, that's further proof that it is actually active and that it does actually make changes in the skin. We do have to be cautious around certain things. That's not to say that we can't work around it. Absolutely. But it is very important that you keep those things in mind. And I love the fact that Dermalogica is so skin conscious that they always put out, yep, we're using this incredible product. It will make changes these are the things you have to watch out for. It's not like, you know, oh no, use it every day, keep using it and buy heaps more. No, we want you to use it correctly. We want you to
stomach during pregnancy is amazing. No,
yeah, you know, no, you hold back, and you're always so ethical with all your information that you give to the client. It's all about patient safety, and it's all about really making wonderful changes to that client's skin. All your products, your ethos follows that same beautiful kind of idea that it is always serving the best interest, safety, and efficacy for the patient. And that's one thing that's so special about your products, apart from the fact that you have an incredible research department. Oh my goodness. Every time I talk to you about this, I get super jealous about your labs. I want to come and visit one day.
We will take you to Los Angeles one day, Steph, and you can just go and talk to the research and development team, play in the lab, have a little look around.
It's the dream, right? It's the fairy tale place, the magical place where all the incredible ingredients and all the wonderful technology is about. Yeah, totally. And speaking of Disneyland, Disneyland has made some magic recently. I am so excited because we are talking about clinical products right now. So I'm really excited. You have one, and it's called the Retinol Accelerator, and it is a pro product only. Oh my goodness, tell us everything.
So we have just launched our Retinol Accelerator from Dermalogica PRO. It is a professional only product. But for me, this is just an ultimate game changer in your clinical practice, right? Because there's so much that we are able to do, and how exciting that we're in the industry that we're in at this particular time, because it's fast, it's innovative, and things are happening all of the time. But even as technicians, even as therapists, when we're working with our clients' skins, we always get that one client, or, you know, there's a handful of clients that go, so if you're going to do this, that's great. But is there a way you could make that a little bit stronger? Is there a way I could get that result a little bit quicker? How can you do this for me, but make it more active? And that's where the Retinol Accelerator comes in. It's literally using the power of retinol to accelerate your resurfacing results. So it's really designed for those clients that and you probably, you guys know this, you get those clients that have a chemical peel, they don't want to peel. They don't want any downtime. They don't want any changes to their skin. They want the benefits, but they don't want the downtime. But on the flip side, you've got a certain group of clients, and I fit into this category, that goes, yes, I want the peel, but I want my face to fall off. I want to lose my skin cells. I want to, in 3 days' time, I want to be shedding on the breakfast bar. Like, I want my face falling off. And that's what Retinol Accelerator is going to do. It's going to accelerate the results of your cell turnover, your skin resurfacing treatments, so that it brings you to a faster result, a quicker result, and you get that more accelerated cell turnover. So it's just amazing. Real game changer.
It is the best feeling to see that renewed skin underneath. My goodness, once that shedding comes off, and then your skin is starting to, 1 or 2 days, 3 days after, when you're like, wow.
How good does your skin look? Like, you go through that period, but then a week later, people are literally saying to you, Steph, what have you done to your skin?
You get them over that hurdle of having a little bit of downtime, and they'll truly become addicted. Once you get them past the idea of, okay, you actually need to factor in the skin shedding time, they do soon become, they realize this is incredible for my skin. There's nothing else that I can do to get that same effect, and they'll surely come around. But our skin therapists out there are probably thinking, how, when, what, how do I use this? Tell us a little bit about how you would apply this and how a skin therapist would use this.
Okay, so it couldn't be simpler to use, really. It's amazing. So as I was saying, we use this in a skin resurfacing treatment. So if you've performed a Dermalogica PRO Power Peel, if you've done any of our pro services that have involved some kind of resurfacing, those are the treatments where you're going to work with Retinol Accelerator. So you work through your treatment, and then at the end of your treatment, once you've removed the peels, removed any masks or anything else that you've done, you then apply, with gloved hands, you're going to apply 2 pumps of your Retinol Accelerator. onto the skin. You're then going to leave it to absorb for a minute. And then for clients that want even further results, you can apply another 2 pumps if needed. So you can really push the retinol accelerator for those clients that are really, really gung-ho. And then you're going to leave that to process on the skin for up to 10 minutes. And then you can just wipe off the excess with some damp aesthetic wipes, moisturizer, sunscreen. But what's really exciting, and this is going to really blow your mind, is for clients that really want to get an advanced result. You can actually leave the retinol accelerator on the skin, and your client can go home with it on and remove it within 4 hours of their treatment time.
Wow.
They will get an even more advanced result and even further peeling and resurfacing on their skin.
Wow.
So move it yourself as the skin treatment therapist within 10 minutes, or for accelerated and amplified results, your clients go home with it on and they can remove it themselves within a 4-hour time period to get those really, really groundbreaking results.
And I've said wow 3 times, and that is because you can then time how long you leave this on, staged over a period of time with your client. So the first time you could do 10 minutes, right? And the second time longer, and then third time, and build up to those 4 hours.
Absolutely, absolutely. So you just get the results and you build up and you build up until you're getting the results that you want. But yeah, you can work it however you need to work it to get that result. It's all about getting the result, isn't it, that your clients want, getting them to their endpoint so that they're happy with what they see. And you do that, like we were saying with retinol, you know, sometimes you go more cautiously. Sometimes you've got that client's skin that can just go full on and go for the 4 hours. You can manipulate, for want of a better word, this product to get you the result that you want.
And it's about that. Lately we're moving towards that custom, you know, building it into how your particular client would use it or what your client needs. And that is so special when that happens, when you can use a product and modify it that way and modify the results and regulate that part of it as a skin therapist yourself and build up towards, you're right, you might get those, you know, very sensitized thinner skins that probably need it for a shorter period of time, and then you get the hardier skins, and then those skins that are more sensitized can build up to it.
100%. 100%. How great is that? You know, that gives you a lot more control as a therapist with your clients in your treatment room to get that control over when you're going to get those results and how you're going to achieve them. Rather than being constrained, you've got a lot more flexibility and wiggle room to be able to get those results.
So we talked about how it's being used, and obviously you would use it in a treatment, in the context of a treatment. Yeah. Tell us, what benefits does it add to that treatment, and what other treatments would you use it within? Is it a solo standalone treatment? Can you combine it with other things?
This product is really designed to be added into, it's almost like an enhancement at the end of a service. So it's always within a resurfacing treatment. So any treatment where you have performed some kind of skin resurfacing, you would use this product to accelerate that result. So it's almost like an enhancement that you would add on to the end of the service. Within terms of benefits, what are you going to see? What are the clients going to see? Well, they're going to get around that 3-day post period, they're going to get 72 hours. They're going to get that peel and flaking, you know, dead skin on the breakfast bar effect. Yeah. Now, depending on your client's skin health, depends on the extremity of that flaking. Very, very healthy skins with good, strong barrier don't get as much flaking as those skins with impaired barriers, for example. So you'll definitely get that flaking, and then it brings with it all of the benefits of using retinol. So improved cell turnover, working into those oilier skins, the sebaceous gland, supporting skins that have pigmentation, fine lines, wrinkles, any of those benefits that we've talked about from retinol as an ingredient, this will bring into your treatment. So if you're trying to treat a client with post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and you've done a peel to help with that, applying the retinol accelerator is going to accelerate the results that you see from doing that. So it just brings all of the benefits that retinol would bring into your treatment room.
So perfect. You know, with this treatment, it's very reminiscent. Obviously, you were talking about home care, of the incredible products you have to give to your patients and clients to take home. you have a particular product that is a retinol serum, which we're all in love with, and that's the Dynamic Skin Retinol Serum. Tell me, is there anything so different or key about the Pro formula as opposed to the take-home formulations?
That's a really good question, Steph, because both formulas actually have 3.5% retinol within them, a retinol blend. So the Dynamic Skin Retinol Serum has 3.5% retinol, as does our Retinol Accelerator. The blend of retinols is different. So in the Retinol Accelerator, we have retinol, we have the ester of retinol, which is retinol propionate, and then we have encapsulated retinol. Whereas in the Dynamic Skin Retinol Serum, yes, we have retinol, encapsulated retinol, but we also have gram-active retinol, which is a different sort of formula. And we have a retinoid booster in there. But they work very well and very complementary to one another. But what we also have in the Retinol Accelerator is a 5% niacinamide. So the niacinamide that for me, if I could have a second ingredient, top number one is retinol, number two would be niacinamide, because it's just that adaptive ingredient. You know, it's great for strengthening your barrier. It's great at reducing transepidermal water loss. Well, I love niacinamide, the fact that it slows down that melanosome transfer. So it really helps to reduce pigmented lesions within the skin. It's great at hydration, those supportive elements of niacinamide within the formula. But we also have something in here called stevia, and stevia is a natural ingredient that mimics retinol, but it doesn't have any of those irritating qualities. So as well as the 3.5% retinol blend, we've also got stevia in there to mimic those retinol type ingredients, but a lot more gentle on the skin. So you can work with the Retinol Accelerator as skin therapist, and then your clients can go home and within 72 hours, 5 days later, they can start working with the Dynamic Skin Retinol Serum, and that just keeps everything going. So it just keeps all the benefits of your treatment on a continuous thread for your clients until they come back in to see you in 4 weeks' time.
That sounds absolutely divine. Any advice at all that you've got regarding the product in general? Downtime, anything else that we've kind of missed? I feel like we've covered so many things in this podcast.
There's a few key things. I mean, obviously it's a retinol. So the first thing you've got to make sure you do is get your clients agreement that they are going to work with a sunscreen.
Right.
And if you're busy doing all of this work with your peels and with your retinoids, you need to know that the clients are doing the right thing by their own skins, not by you, but by their own skins, and making sure that they're working with an SPF. Otherwise, don't bother, because if they're not going to put a sunscreen on, they're not going to get the results. You know, it is a light sensitive ingredient. And in about 3 days' time, you are going to get some kind of peel. You are going to get some kind of flake. And I know the temptation is to take it off. It's whack at it and pick at it. But actually, you've got to let the skin do what the skin does best, which is fix itself. So we've done an advanced treatment. We've exfoliated, we've resurfaced, and then we've accelerated that with retinol. And the skin is now busy doing its thing. It's doing its repair work. You've got to let it do it. So don't pick at your skin. Just let it come away. Or if necessary, you could use a very, very gentle, almost like a microfoliant, something very, very superficial that's just no scrubs. Definitely no scrubs.
Definitely none.
The other thing is that when you do start to introduce retinols to the skin, is we are accelerating cell turnover and cell renewal. So sometimes in those initial phases, the skin can feel quite tight and a little dehydrated. So always have some kind of hydration element. Increase your internal water 100%, but then topically apply facial spritzes, anything with hyaluronic acid, sodium hyaluronate, all of those beautiful sodium PCA, all those beautiful humectant type ingredients, hydrating serums. You might want to increase your moisturizer level and just start working with something more hydrating, but anything just to keep that hydration up is really, really important. But the most important thing is an SPF.
Oh, you're preaching to the choir. I think everyone that's listening to this is thinking, if I'm going to use this product, it's going to make a difference. We need to protect our client's skin. That is a non-negotiable at every point when you're using this product, and really any skincare and really anywhere you should be using it. But absolutely, it is light sensitive. And I think in actual fact, there are some studies that have shown if you don't use sun protection, you could actually cause more sun damage to your skin than you would if you weren't using the product. If you want more of Sarah's incredible knowledge, you have to come and check out the ABIC conference in 2024 in February. We have such an incredible lineup of speakers, and of course, Sarah Hughes is one of them. What are you talking about next year?
We are going to be focusing on, and again, with Dermalogica, we like to move the goalposts, we like to pioneer, but we're talking about how to work with pigmentation and the different Fitzpatrick skins. So, we've always been challenged with exfoliation and treating those Fitzpatricks and getting the results, especially on your higher Fitzpatricks. So we're going to be looking at how we can change the game in the treatment room and actually get some phenomenal results for all Fitzpatricks. So I'm very excited. We were at ABIC earlier this year. Quality of the speakers that you had this year was incredible. It was amazing to hear from so many amazing industry professionals. The organization, the whole day was absolutely incredible.
Aww.
So for me, that's all right. I've already got my ticket. I bought my ticket before we'd even got the place as being a presenter there. But I'm so excited for 2024 because I know ABIC's just going to roll out another phenomenal and it's going to be amazing.
The lineup is insane. It is so good. I tell you what, I actually can't wait. I know that I'm going to sit there soaking up the education on the day, soaking up the motivation and inspiration. And we've got, obviously you spoke this year and it was so impactful, and I can't wait to hear what you've got for us next year. You're right, it's going to be bigger and better than ever. We've already sold pretty much 3/4 of our tickets. So if anyone's listening to the podcast now, get in there quick. Second tranche has just been released of our tickets. So make sure you're there. If you're not an ABIC member, sign up because you get a free ticket. Yay. Sarah, thank you so much. Obviously, Dermalogica is a very fundamental part of the setting up of ABIC. You are foundation members of the ABIC. We do have a limited amount of foundation members. You guys are the ones that stepped up in the very beginning and said, we need this organization, we need to give back to our industry, and supported us as an industry body that looks after and really is the umbrella association over our whole industry, our united industry. And that includes all the 4 sectors, from beauty services to beauty therapy, dermal therapy, and medical aesthetics. And we really do help everybody that is in our industry, who are run businesses, professionals, sole traders, students. We bring them all together across every sector and deliver education that is meaningful and impactful, and ways of all working together in the industry, which is something so special. So thank you so much, Sarah, and also Dermalogica being such strong part of that and such strong advocates for our industry and for ABIC.
Oh, you're welcome. You know what, as a brand, why would we not be involved in something so phenomenal? So thank you for having me today, but also, it's a privilege on behalf of Dermalogica. It's an absolute privilege to be part of the foundation of ABIC.
You've reached the end of another episode of the Beauty by ABIC podcast, your online support community for the aesthetic and beauty industry. Thank you for listening, and until next time, stay connected.